I read that three of your major influences are, or your heroes are sort of Buckminster Fuller, um, Davis Pratt, and I believe John Wally. Am I wrong?
No, those two, the last two, well, all three of them taught at the Institute of Design.
Okay.
Bucky Fuller was a sort of iconic figure at that, even at that time. You may not have heard of him, but he's a.
Oh no, no, I've heard of him. Anyone who studied architect, and I don't know if you know my background. I studied architecture, and so I know I'm fully aware of Buckminster Fuller.
Well, Serge Chimaev, who was the head of the school, got Bucky to come there for a couple of semesters, and he was an incredible, dynamic kind of guy. I mean, it was a real privilege just to listen to him lecture. So the other two, Dave Pratt and John Wally, were teachers there who had learned their trade under Moholy-Nagy.
Okay.
And those two taught what was called the foundation course, which was the very basic first 3 semesters of the school.
I'm aware of I'm aware somewhat of the curricula for a program like that. So what did you learn from Buckminster Fuller in particular?
Well, what can one say about Bucky? What you learn is you can't be too creative. I mean, this guy, but he had a phrase which I think, which I remember, which is quite an interesting one, and it was performance per pound.
Huh.
Performance per pound. Bucky was an advocate of tension over compression.
Yes. The geodesic dome in particular.
If you could use tension, you were getting a lot per pound. Because a wire doesn't weigh anything. Well,
Is it also that you learn, that good design is kind of efficient design also?
well, yes, that's what that whole thing is, performance per pound.
Okay.
Getting away with, well, like a suspension bridge, for example, is what we can all look at as an illustration of that phrase. And it's, the other way of building a bridge, going back to the Romans, was using stone.
Yes.
It's compression.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So there's a huge difference there. And Bucky, of course, didn't invent that. He didn't invent suspension bridges, but he understood this, and he invented his. I went to school. There was a student there named Ken. He invented something under Bucky's guidance called discontinuous compression.
Oh.
Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Well, I'll never forget it. The school had a stairway which went from the basement to the top floor. And it was a stairwell, the spiraling stairs went up. One day, it appeared in this stairway, this tower, which went from the basement to the top, made with wires and sticks.
Oh.
And this was what was called later discontinuous compression. It's hard to believe when you look at it. It's the kind of thing that defies understanding, because the ends of these sticks don't touch each other. They only are held in place by wires.